please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. D'Andriano?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Somebody like to make a motion on the reports?
I'll make a motion to accept the Code Compliance Report of September, Code Enforcement Report of September, Dog Control Officer Report of September, ECI, and the Public Fire Department third quarter report. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Somebody like to make a motion on the supervisor's report for July?
Make a motion that we approve the supervisor's report for July with an ending balance of $8,018,835.54. That's a good one, Charlie. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Somebody like to audit the bills?
I'll make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 18, dated September 29th, 2017, in the amount of $484,937.41. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. D'Andriano, you're at bat.
Okay, first on my agenda are highway requests. First one is a request to have a memo here from Highway Superintendent Russ Goff. We'd like to request to sell Truck 10 to the town of Cairo. They have offered to pay us $30,000. We looked at the Truck and Auctions International over the summer and got a high bid of $18,600. We counter-offered the higher bidder with the amount of $30,000 and they declined. The town of Cairo had followed up with us and requested to purchase it. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of Truck 10 for $30,000 to the town of Cairo. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second, I have a request from Russ Goff as well to hire Janet Forsyth to fill his confidential secretary Margot Miller when she'll be away. So I'd like to make a motion to approve hiring Janet Forsyth at the rate of $15.30 per hour. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you just read?
It was wrong.
Oh, it was wrong? Okay.
Next on my agenda is recreation requests. First one I have, it's actually two requests. One is for new programs that the rec center started, Zumbini and Paloxing. Okay, the revenue split will be 60% for the instructor and 40 cents for the rec department.
Where do they come up with these names?
I don't know. It's exciting though, I guess. It catches your eye. Do we need to approve those or are they just...
We need approval on that, Rich?
I don't believe so. It's just an announcement.
Okay, so the next item is Matt Chabarro is requesting to hire Brian Vaughn as a junior staff member. Brian is an honor roll student in Brewster and a member of the ROTC. He has played sports and assisted with coaching duties on the youth level. So I'd like to make a motion to hire Brian Vaughn at the rate of $9 per hour, pending his paperwork. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I have a request from the rec center for t-shirts and hoodies for the playoff champs. So I'd like to make a motion to approve not to exceed $420 for shirts. So moved.
What's this, Select Sportswear?
For Select Sportswear.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next from the rec center, I'd like to make a motion to approve a repair and replacement of the circulator pumps at the rec center. I'd like to make a motion to approve not to exceed $3,000 to ITC North. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is for the heating system at the rec center.
That's correct. Yeah. Fortunately, the circulator pump burned down. So actually, we've got 2 burned out circulator pumps. The other one is at the wastewater treatment plant.
Better now than 3 months from now.
Yes.
Middle of the winter.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're testing all the systems.
He stole
and
your
we're finding
thunder.
issues.
So we should be good for the heat and
You
the
wanna take one of mine? You can
air
take one of mine
conditioning
if you
there
want.
for a while, hopefully.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
That's all right.
And that is all I have.
I'm going to kill.
Charles,
Well,
next up.
since Peter cut mine in half, I will just move right to the
Oh, was that yours?
holiday schedule. I think I did that to you last time.
It was on
But
record.
we have before us the 2018 town holiday schedule. This is pretty much what it is every year. So I will just make a motion that the town board approve the 2018 town holiday schedule. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sean?
Charlie, you want any of my items?
Kevin just said
I just
the same
offered, I said
thing.
you take any one, pick one.
I'm cool.
I'll even give a budget transfers, that's my favorite.
So the first item we have is a license agreement that the town has been asked to consider for Miss Patricia Ploger so that we can allow the construction of a retaining wall at the edge of her property and the parkland property to shore up, pun intended, the property line, prevent some erosion control issues. Are we still waiting on anything, Don? Did we need it?
Pat supplied a copy of the survey. I think we might have just some questions, maybe. Pat's a rough indication as to where it is. Is it extended along the entire boundary line?
Of the 140 feet of frontage, only about 50 feet.
Okay. So
Frontage on the lake.
Frontage of the lake, yes.
yeah, I think as we put the agreement together, we might just indicate a little roughly where it is.
Okay.
We wanted the resolution to be pending, or
Yeah.
Well, the resolution is
Conditions
just to, approve the licensing agreement and authorize the supervisor to sign it.
okay.
And,
And
This is
do it, licensing agreement prepared by the town attorney.
Okay.
yeah, and we'll probably just talk of it in general terms, approximately X number of feet from the boundary line, things like that. I don't think we need too much specificity on it. And even though there's one of the red flags that would go up with something like this is to make sure that there isn't any possible claims of ownership between the property line and a stone wall, but there's no claim of adverse possession that could be brought against the town, but we still might make a quick note of it in the license agreement. Otherwise, it'll be the standard, what's become a standard form for us on matters of this type. So, and I'll email it to you, Pat, for review, and we'll coordinate.
Great.
Pat, this is
Provided
somewhat
the town board
timely,
approves it.
considering the lake is drawn down right now. It's a perfect time to do this.
Right, right.
I understand in your letter to the town that you said that past attempts have not been, they haven't withstood the ice and the natural forces.
Right, the dry laid wall, which is
Yeah.
why I'm asking for a reinforced
Sure.
masonry wall, which makes it a permanent structure, hopefully permanent.
I just want to add to the Putnam Lake Advisory Board had no problem with it as well, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Pat, there won't be typical provisions in this deal with, indemnifying the town against any damages.
Yep.
You have a contractor that'll do it?
Yes,
So the contractor giving us a certificate of insurance.
Right.
Other basic.
as well as my insurance.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
send you a draft at the same time I send one to Rich, and then you can call me up with any questions.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. So I will move to introduce the resolution approving the licensing agreement with Patricia E. Ploger at 5 Lakeshore Drive, Patterson, tax parcel 25.72-1-6, pursuant to execution of the documents prepared by the town attorney and authorizing the town supervisor to execute
Execute the
those
agreement.
documents for the town. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And secondly, we had some repairs that we discussed, I believe, last meeting relating to the automatic transfer switch at the wastewater treatment plant. We have quotes for the repair. I'm looking to authorize Peak Power Systems. The amount would be $3,900 for the equipment. And I think we're talking about an additional what,
$500.
$500 for the electrician to do the hookup. So I'll move that we approve the purchase from Peak Power Systems for the automatic transfer switch for the wastewater treatment plant. It says Cromwell Hill, but I'm assuming that's Cornwall Hill, right?
Cornwall Hill.
Cornwall Hill wastewater treatment plant, and an additional $500 for the electrical work to be done. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can they just hit it?
Maybe we need to send you down there with a large sledgehammer.
Listen, if I could fix this with a sledgehammer, I would. Fortunately, we're having tremendous problems with power surges out there coming in off of NYSEG's utilities. Next.
Oh, this is for the Fox Run?
No, this is the, you didn't get this in your
I
package?
did not.
Okay.
No.
All right, then we'll do it under other business.
Okay.
More repairs for the wastewater treatment plant. All right. Moving on. Brewster Plastics, we have a IDA pilot agreement with Brewster Plastics. They are somewhat delinquent on their payment. We have been working with our town attorney trying to get a roadmap as to how to resolve the situation. And I am going to ask that we go into executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss the legal strategy having to do with the Brewster Plastics. Likewise, we are looking at a cell tower lease agreement for the sanitation town landfill site. Verizon has expressed an interest in putting up a cell tower on the site. We have a preliminary lease agreement, and we need to discuss some of the terms with the town attorney, which I will ask that we move to executive session again at the end of the meeting.
This is not the Metro North, related to Metro North, this is a separate,
Well, the Metro North is proposing to go up on top of the tower that is being installed for Verizon, if we can reach an agreement.
gotcha, okay.
Okay? All right. Now we're on to the fun stuff. Every year we put out maintenance for the winter sidewalks within the hamlet, running along 311 and over off of West Street. And it's that time of the year where we need to put out a bid. So I would like to ask the town board to approve the bid as written. It basically follows the same format we've used every year, and ask the town clerk to advertise.
Quick question.
Yes,
This is for 1 year.
this is for a one-year contract.
Should we consider, and we don't have to do it this year if you don't want, but like a 2-year contract? Or?
We put a 2-year contract, a 1-year and a 2-year contract out for the past couple of years, and we keep taking the 1-year contract.
Okay.
Now, the bid is broken down into per storm or
Lump sum.
annual, so we can get 2 bids and compare
Great.
them. And then if you want to do it by storm, we can roll the dice and see what we get.
Check the farmer's almanac.
Yeah, I just bought a copy of the Farmer's
Yeah.
Almanac. I'll read it first before we decide.
All right, so that was in the form of a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'd also like to make a motion that the town board advertise for bid snow removal for the sewer and water districts, and ask that the town clerk advertise the bid. I will let everybody know that I've added the Alpine Water District this year into this. Over the years, they've just been kind of trudging through the snow. We haven't had full accessibility when we get a lot of snow up there. So I added the Alpine Water District into this, as well as the 2 pump stations.
Good.
It's the only change from last year. So that was in the form of a motion, so to
Second.
speak. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then I'd like to move in advance of payroll number 24 to be paid on Wednesday, November 26, 2017. So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute, it says 22nd or 26th?
22nd.
Okay, second, okay, you said 6.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the Wednesday before. Normally it's on a Thursday. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I have a few other things under other business, but we'll move right along for the moment. Kevin?
All right, first on my agenda is a resolution of the tax certiorari for Third Garden Park. We had passed this resolution at our last meeting on September 27th. However, there was an error in the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth paragraph. The fourth paragraph read, whereas the town of Patterson and property owner agreed to an assessment of $1,615,000. It was supposed to be $1,610,000, so I have a revised resolution to correct that error for the prior resolution. So I'm just going to make a motion to move the revised resolution as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on agenda, conference requests. We have a conference request for a Land Use Leadership Alliance training program. It looks like it's just going to be mileage. It doesn't appear to require a hotel stay. So that's conference request number one. The second one is I'm not sure, what is New York State BOC?
Building
Code?
Officials.
Conference.
Okay. So it's basically a conference for the building inspector to go to for, again, it's a daily session, not something requiring a hotel stay. So I'll make a motion to approve both of those conference requests as submitted. So moved.
Second.
All right, before we move on, one of the conference requests is for the Pace University Lula program, which participating communities get nominated, and we have the ability to send anywhere from 3 to 5 people. I believe I sent the board all the information. We have to actually nominate the people to go to the program. And I assume, being as we've just approved Sarah Mays, that that was a nomination to allow her to go. The other person I'd like to nominate is Rod Taylor, who sits on our planning board.
Rob has agreed to go.
Yep, he filled out the
Yeah, that's
paperwork. And, yep,
Great.
so.
So
board
should I
okay
just
with that?
amend, that's fine with me, but should I amend this, or we'll just wait for him to submit the request? Or is he just going with Sarah?
No, he is probably going on his own.
Okay,
And if he submits a conference request, we'll deal with it at that point.
sounds good. All right.
All
All right, last item, budget transfers. I have a budget transfer 35 for moving $10,920 from recreation buildings to recreation personal services. Building transfer, or budget transfer request 36 is within the ambulance line. It's for moving $3,375 from ambulance personal services to medical buyout. Budget transfer request 37 is moving money within Park District, Veterans Park District's funds, moving $4,000 from park personal services and training to park equipment and outlay for the total amount of $4,473. And the last item,
Let's hold off on that.
should we hold on this? Okay, I'll table budget transfer request 38. So at this time, I'll make a motion to move budget transfers 35, 36, and 37 as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's just been brought to my attention, we didn't vote on the conference requests, so
Oh, okay.
I believe, Kevin, you made the motion?
Yes, so I'll make a motion to approve the conference request as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Okay. Anybody have any other business?
I do. I'd like to make a couple of announcements for Saturday, October 21st, at the Recreation Center, the Militaria Knife and Collector Show. Admission is $5, children under 12 free, with an adult. So that's October 21st at the Recreation Center, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next, we said this at last meeting, and I would like to repeat it, that Metro North will be closing the Cornwall Hill Road railroad crossing for repairs from Friday, October 20th, 11 p.m. until Monday, October 23rd, 4:30 p.m. Message boards will be posted 1 week prior, and detour signs will be posted on Friday, October 20th. The recycling center will be accessible and maintaining its regular hours of operation on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. One more. I'll do this one.
You're on a roll, Charlie.
Nah.
Making up for earlier.
Anybody want to take this? Pete? No? Okay.
Wow.
Putnam Lake Fire Department has submitted 2 members that they have accepted for our approval. One is Danny Santos, Brewster, New York, and another one is for Oriel, Patterson, New York. So I'll make a motion that the town board approve these 2 folks as members of the Putnam Lake Fire Department. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that it for you?
Now I'm done.
Kevin? Pete?
Just want to remind everybody that next Saturday, October 21st, is the bulk pickup in Putnam Lake in Garbage District number 1. Just a reminder. Clean out your basements, your attics.
Tom?
All set? I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, I do have, unfortunately, quite a few things that came in late today. First up is we have a problem with one of our pump stations. One of the pumps is gone, and we need to effectuate some repairs. It's currently running on the backup, and the cost for doing that repair, the estimate we received from All Makes, which is one of the only people who can rebuild these Fairbanks motors, is $5,302, and I would like to move that we approve All Makes pump and motor repair to repair the pump motor in the pump station
Covington Green.
at Covington Greens.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The second one is we lost another pump in the well out at Fox Run. And we had to effectuate some emergency repairs. That was done by Beal, who does all our pump work out there, for an amount of $5,197.50. So I'd like to approve Beal, the expenditure to Beal for repairing the well out at Fox Run. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, you did that one. We all have this, right? Okay. So we received a request today from our highway superintendent, Russ Goff, for the purchase of, where are we, a 2018 Ford F-350 with a dump body and Fisher plow via NJPA contract in the amount of $52,000. Russ feels we need another small dump truck for the general road work and snow plowing. And, you know, recognizing truck 15 is not plow worthy anymore. And we have now sold truck number 7 and truck 48. So he's asking for the board to approve the purchase of the 2018 Ford 350. He is also looking to purchase a second blower for the back of the tractors. We are using one blower right now. He would like to get a second blower, not to blow anything in Putnam Lake, mind you, in the lake, but Russ, do you want to add anything to these?
No, that's it.
All right, so I'd like to approve the purchase of a 2018 Ford F-350 with a dump body Fisher plow and the purchase of a blower in the amount of, well, the truck is for $52,000. The blower is for $5,960. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin, do you have any more budget
Would you
transfers?
like me to do budget transfer request 38? How timely. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve budget transfer request 38, moving $58,000 from sale equipment to machine equipment and capital outlay. It was actually not, both. It's an increase of both funds, 58,000? I thought it was moving one from the other.
It should be,
It says increase both.
Russ, go pull Trish outside for a minute.
What's that?
Go grab Trish for a minute.
I think its first one's supposed to be bracketed.
Trish, we're moving from the sale of the equipment down to machinery and equipment, are we not? We're not increasing both.
We're not moving. It's an adjustment, so we're increasing the revenue side and we're increasing the expense side.
So it is an
Separate
increase
sides.
So it's an increase of both.
All right.
Okay, all right. So I'll make a motion to increase the sale of equipment by $58,000. Thank you, Trish. And then make a motion to increase the machinery, equipment, and capital outlay by $58,000. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. How often can we do that? Just summon Trish and she just comes?
To the rescue.
This time of the year, more frequently than we would like. All right, I have one more piece of business for the town board, and that's the, little bit of budget work that we need to knock off tonight. All right, so the first sheet you're looking at, because we need to advertise this, and we need to advertise this soon, is the schedule of salaries for elected officials. What you see here is based on our lengthy discussions on, the salaries for this year for all our employees and elected officials. Want to make sure you're all okay with that, and we need to approve that. The second page here is line-by-line budget adjustments that we've made and the percent increase currently, so the public knows we are looking at a 1.32% increase in the budget. So, kudos to the town board for holding the line again this year. And the last 2 pages are the salary adjustments that we've all been talking about.
Okay, but it's just the first page, so it has to be published.
No, we have to publish notice of the preliminary, and we have to post the whole preliminary budget
We do.
up online.
Oh, okay.
So I want to make sure everybody's okay with that, which is the second page.
Yeah, I think that reflects everything we talked about.
Yeah. Okay.
Just give us a second.
Okay.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2018 schedule of salaries for elected town officials and ask the town clerk to publish the list. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we'll finish up the preliminary budget and get that up online. And the public hearing will be the 25th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Public recognition. Oh, I do have one more thing, quick. Just to give everybody a quick update. We have drawn down Putnam Lake, and the cart gate is in. We have a couple of minor adjustments to make. We still have to put the trash gate on, and we have to put up the fine mesh. But everything else has been complete, and to everybody's satisfaction so far with the cart gate. In addition, while we had the contractor out there, we kind of negotiated some of the work on the fly, as we like to do from time to time. So at no additional cost to the town, we had them make some additional repairs to the top of the dam, because we had some dips. We leveled it out, and we had them repair the masonry wall for the spillway, and that was all done at no additional cost. So
Very good.
So we were the better negotiators then, I guess.
yeah, we were in good shape out there at this point, considering where we started with this. Everything has worked out well. We are going to keep the lake down for a few more weeks so people have the opportunity to do maintenance, pull some weeds and trees out in the dry lake bed now. And then we have the Putnam Lake Fire Department, who's going to be servicing all their dry hydrants and doing some additional work to make it more accessible for their emergency boat to get into the lake. Once that's done, then we're going to start bringing the lake back up thereabouts. Probably beginning of December. to the end of December. Somewhere in December, we're going to start, bringing the lake back up. Till then, we're going to try to keep it where it is.
Rich, I believe last meeting you informed everyone about the emergency repairs that were required out at Putt Lake, and you had given kudos to a lot of people who helped out, but I noticed one of them is here tonight and wasn't at the last meeting, sitting in the back row there. Didn't know
Yeah.
if you wanted to embarrass them and at least give them kudos. Can't embarrass you?
Step up to the mic.
We're on hand.
Thank you.
Yes, the contractor who dropped everything and came running out there that night, Mr. James Gagliardo, who was just absolutely exceptional in excavating out, locating the problem, and working with Russ and his crew to make all the repairs. And, he did. He dropped everything for the town and for the people of Putnam Lake, and spent his weekend out there with the rest of us. So, James, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like to add something? Okay, public recognition. Ask any member of the audience if they'd like to be heard.
Eleanor Smith, Patterson Fire Department President. I just wanted the public to know that the Patterson Fire Department, the chief and the board and myself have been trying to negotiate and work out something to help out the EMS situation by providing second call in district. I just received this letter from Rich, and I just want to read some of it. The Patterson Fire Department previously submitted a budget for providing second response ambulance service to the community. The town board found that the initial proposal was high and attempted to reduce the cost to one that would be affordable by the community. The department's response was to request a higher budget than the one initially submitted. Unfortunately, at this time, we must decline the department's offer to provide second ambulance service. We find that very disheartening, and we find that we can't understand the rationale behind that when our budget that we submitted to you is minuscule compared to what the town is now using or spending on EMS. Second call in district, you went back and nitpicked a couple of things that we asked for and asked for clarification. The chief went back and sent you another revised budget, and you said, well, it went up. The reason it went up was because we have 6 new EMTs who have to provide turnout gear to them to keep them safe. And your backup, your answer was, don't they already have turnout gear? Well, we have to understand, and you should know this, that turnout gear for an EMT is different than a turnout gear for a firefighter. And myself, I have both, because I'm a firefighter and I'm also an ambulance driver and a first responder. So I do have 2 sets of gears to keep me safe. Driving my bunker gear to an ambulance call would not only be dangerous for me to fit in that small ambulance, but would not keep me safe and respectful for the way that I need to respond to an ambulance call. His budget went up. It's $1,100 per set of turnout gear per EMT, $125 for boots and $100 for a uniform. And that's what was budgeted, and that's why it went up. There were 3 new members before the other 3 that we had. You did ask, you said that, you don't need equipment on the ambulance because it's already there. But equipment breaks down, supplies need to be replenished. There's always a reasoning, and it's looked closely, and to make sure that our budget is efficient and what our needs meet our needs. So I'm very disheartened by this. The members don't know about this. Matt couldn't be here tonight, and I thought that I would come here and just give you my feelings about this, how this is incomprehensible, that you would not want us to, at night, when we have right now enough EMTs to cover a night with a driver, it just doesn't make sense to us. So I'd like an explanation why that 30, it was a 32, last year's was $32,750, and we're asking for $41,275, which to me is not a lot of money compared to what you've been spending. Do you have a tally on that, by the way? I like to,
Yeah, we do.
because I remember last time you said you weren't keeping a tally, so I was just
Tally on
curious.
what?
On what you've spent so far in EMS.
Oh, God, yes, absolutely. We
Okay.
keep a tally constantly, and we also keep a tally about what we're bringing in revenue, and we're
Yeah.
getting reports on that, absolutely.
Okay, so if is that public? Is that
Sure,
somewhere?
public. I don't have those numbers in front of me
Okay.
right now, and I'm not going to
No,
sit here
I
and
don't
try
want
to
you- no.
guess what they were off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
Okay.
But,
Maybe on Friday when I see you, you can have it if you have time. I like to see it. Curious about it. But anyway, my first question was, why would you not accept the fire department volunteers to come and help with the second Quorum district?
Eleanor, we need to really start having a serious conversation in this town about the cost of providing fire and EMS services. You know, we started that a year ago. Certainly, we want to keep our residents safe, but we also need to keep the community affordable, you know, if we're going to have any residents whatsoever. You know, we're laboring under a tax cap of 1.8%. We're out in the public constantly hearing from our residents how they're laboring under high taxes in this town. It's one of the biggest complaints I hear constantly. And we need to find a way, again, to provide, you know, good fire and emergency services at a cost that they can afford. You know, the fire department submitted their budget this year. We're looking to come in at 1.5% or less. You know, and the fire department budget comes in here this year, 23.5%.
That's what it shows, 16%. But
It was
that's...
It was 23.5%. And you want a full-time mechanic so that you can have a paid driver over there.
Right, but
It's not-
that was a budget that was supposed to be discussed, because we have to also, when we do, if that mechanic ever came to be, there would be a lot of lines that would be reduced. I mean, right off the top of my head, I could think $10,000. I know,
You
it
gave us a
wasn't...
budget, you didn't reduce any
Right,
costs.
but
you just added.
that's why we have a meeting, and that's why we need to discuss it.
That's
That
true.
was the big picture, so, you know, that's with everything, so we know that we're going to reduce it, and there are other things to reduce, but that was not, you're right, that was not in the budget, but it is going to be discussed on Friday. There's a lot of things that we can minus from that.
Yeah, with regard to the, you know, to the EMS, you know, same thing. You submitted a budget, you're right. We now, as a town board, have the experience of starting up our own EMS service from scratch. We know what the costs are. We evaluated what you proposed for doing second call. You refused to make any sort of commitment as that you would ever actually go out, which we were looking for.
No, that's not what you were looking for 100%.
No.
You wanted us to
No,
cover
listen.
every call,
Eleanor.
and we could not, as volunteers, agree to that.
Eleanor, nobody is ever going to make 100% of the calls.
Well, that's
Even-
what you stated in your
Patterson
letter.
EMS, there are going to be times when they're going to drop a call because they're already out on another call. So nobody's going to make 100% of the call. We would never be that unreasonable to expect you to make 100%.
Well, you implied that at your
But we were
last
looking for you to make a commitment
proposal.
as to the number of calls that you were going to, you know, we weren't going to give you, you know, I thought it started at 41, I think it went up to $46,000, the budget that you were looking for.
No, it was 41.
We weren't going to do that without a firm commitment that you were actually going to put an ambulance out in the field. So that was one.
So what do you think like, that doesn't make any sense what you just said. You think that we're going to take the money and not put our ambulance out?
Well,
That doesn't make sense to what you just said.
a year ago, I
We
believe.
have a budget, we have a duty crew, we have a schedule out that every night it would be covered, second call in district.
Okay, but I believe a year ago that this board sent a pretty clear message to the Patterson Fire Department that we were not interested in having them provide EMS services, and we were going in a different direction. You guys went out and bought your own ambulance. We've had a dozen proposals for backup EMS service, this kind of EMS service. We're going to train EMTs. We didn't ask for that. A year ago, we told you this is the direction we're going with a volunteer ambulance. You seem to have ignored that.
We had our ambulance. You were
You went
still
out, but
making
you-
up your
but-
mind which way you were going to
You
go.
went out and bought an ambulance having no commitment that we were going to go with the fire department for EMS services. So now we have an ambulance.
Right, and you jumped the gun without really
Jumped the
researching.
gun. We've been debating, most of last year was spent debating EMS services. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right.
All I'm saying is that if you asked us if we could provide second call in district, and we're giving you a budget that to us is not very expensive. It's what it costs for us to run our ambulance and to keep us safe, keep it running properly, have the insurance on it, to house it, the fuel. There are costs, and we looked at that with a fine-tooth comb to say this is the bottom line of what we would need to provide second calls. It could be a lot more, it could be less, it could be a lot less. It's going to depend on how many calls we have. Who knows? We can't predict that, but we'd rather have enough to cover and not fall short. So that was our thought process on that. We have the volunteers now. We have 3 new EMTs. We have 2. We have the people. So they want to help, and they want to do their part, and we're trying to give them a place to do their part. Thank you.
So my name is Monica DeFeo. I'm a resident of Patterson and also with the Patterson Fire Department. The ambulance was purchased far before the time you decided to open your own EMS service. The second is you've spent probably over $500,000 for the new EMS service, and we have 2 ambulances there. We have a duty crew, and we've offered to do second calls, which would reduce your cost thousands of dollars per week, and you refuse that. Okay, so you can't say, you just raise the town official salaries. So you're not being reasonable or making sense when we have 8 or 10 EMTs, volunteers that need equipment, that are on a duty schedule, who are willing to go out on calls, save you thousands of dollars, and you refuse that. You actually refuse that. So you cannot say that it's unreasonable because you have people who want to contribute. You excluded the town of the Patterson Fire Department, the EMS service, out of everything, Rich. Out of everything, because you didn't want us to participate in your service when we offered to participate, to volunteer. You're not paying us $15 an hour. We're volunteering our time. You're running an ambulance 24/7, paying EMTs $15 an hour, paying the administrators $65,000, and you just went out and bought a second ambulance. You now have 2 ambulances. We have 2 ambulances sitting there doing nothing. And the other thing is that the town of Patterson, the residents, are being charged for the service when you could get us for free. So taxes eventually will go up because it's your taxes you're going to end up paying for it. That's, unreasonable, totally unreasonable.
Did you ask us before you bought the ambulance? Did you come to us and say, we're thinking of buying an ambulance, what do you think? We want to put this in our budget.
We didn't have any issues, and you brought this up.
It was financed. It wasn't paid out of a vehicle. It wasn't paid out of a vehicle replacement fund. There's no.
Get rid of it.
Right. So then why are we paying a lease on it? Why did you take out a car note on an ambulance that you should have had with vehicle replacement funds? You didn't replace it. You went out and financed it. You didn't ask this board.
There was never, was it in the contract to ask the board whether they could replace
No,
the
unfortunately,
vehicle?
I wish it was in the contract.
So then there you go, you just
Right, so you just bought, we bought an ambulance, and now it's our fault that we're not using it.
It was 10 or 12 years old, the ambulance.
Maybe you collaborate with the board and ask them before you spend that money for an
Maybe
ambulance.
you should be more receptive to collaborating with the Patterson Fire Department. You're not, you excluded everything. When we have offered time and time again to contribute to the services, to save you thousands of dollars.
That is wholly disingenuous because
It
this
is not,
board
Ed.
has
It is
tried
not.
for a year,
have not.
a year to work with the fire
We have
department.
given you proposals left and right. We have worked with you and tried to work with you, but you refused everything. You didn't want us to be
2016 was the year of the fire department.
Did not want us to be included.
Let me jump in here and correct some information. First, you mentioned the town board raises and the elected official raises. Pretty much all the elected officials are getting 1.5%. It's nominal.
It doesn't matter. You're talking about budget and keeping under budget.
Second, all right, you mentioned the purchase of the ambulance. you came to the town and said, we don't have the volunteers to provide ambulance service anymore. The town is going to have to pay a service to provide ambulance service to the residents of the town of Patterson. You did that. We asked you, can you reduce your budget? And you said, yes, we can, but we really don't spend a lot on EMS service. It's only about $5,000 that we can cut out of our budget. I was sitting in the room when that was said.
That's right.
And then, after you said, town, go hire a private company to provide ambulance service, you went out and bought a second ambulance. And it wasn't a replacement ambulance because you put it in your vehicle replacement that you wanted the town to pay the vehicle replacement for 2 ambulances that year. So it wasn't a replacement ambulance. And third, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking right now. Third, we haven't even come close to spending $500,000 on starting up our EMS service, even though we bought 2 ambulances and we paid the full boat for those ambulances this year. We did so in a very cost-effective manner, and we've been bringing revenue in, and we're on track so that this is going to cost the taxpayers of the town of Patterson not anywhere what we thought it was going to cost. So we're actually saving the people of the taxpayers of the town of Patterson, and we are saving them considerably less than the fire department's initial proposal to provide a volunteer ambulance corps, which was about $360,000. We're not even going to come close to spending that in taxpayer funds on the town ambulance. That's what we're doing. Now I've got a question for you. Are you using your ambulance to do private transports of your members down to Manhattan? Did you do that?
That's not up for me. You have to ask.
Yeah, that's not up to you.
Yeah,
Now you don't have an answer.
And you know, again, the ambulance was purchased, and I don't think I'm in the position to say this. I'm just expressing my feelings. You're going to have to talk to Matt and the president, the chief and the president. The ambulance was purchased long before the talks about EMS. And the second, I just want to point out, we went to you saying most of the volunteers have full-time jobs. We work in the city. You know, we work all over. We have full-time jobs. We volunteer. Besides working during the day, we volunteer 10 to 6, 10 p to 6 a.m. Volunteer. We go out on calls to save you, make you safe, and take care of your homes if it's on fire, okay? You paid for TransCare or MSTAR during the day to cover the calls. We took the nights. If you kept that proposal, you would have saved thousands of dollars. I think the chief went to you to explain that there's no volunteers during the day. They all have full-time jobs. As you guys, you have full-time, excuse me, I'm talking now. So you paid for them, and then we took the nights. Now you cover 24/7. So not only are you paying for the days, you're paying for all the nights when you could have saved all that money. You could have saved all that money. You could have saved the taxpayers' money, and you could have invested it in something else. You could have gave those town officials a higher salary, a raise. But you could have saved. We went to you and said you could save thousands of dollars a week. We want to work with you, be inclusive, and you turn that down. And I'm done.
Okay, so again, to correct the misinformation you're trying to put out there, we were paying TransCare, we were paying MSTAR roughly between $320,000 and $340,000 a year. Yeah, we were paying annually $320,000 to $340,000 a year with Patterson Fire Department covering 20 nights. That's what we were doing. That was the agreement. MSTAR or TransCare was covering 24/7 except for 20 nights. And that was costing the residents of Patterson $320,000 to $340,000. We're going to do the same thing with a full-time paid staff, professional,
We are all
24/7, 24/7,
Please don't insult my intelligence.
24/7 for half of that. For half of that. So now how are we not saving the taxpayers' money?
You are paying them $15 an hour, 24/7.
Yeah.
That the people of Patterson are still paying for, where before you did not. So minus the 24, minus the 20 nights, 8 hours a night times $15, and that's the town saved. You decided to go 24/7, and you're paying $15 an hour for 24 hours a day when you did not do that before.
So I'm failing to understand how, if we're doing it for half what it would cost
You're not
us.
doing, so on the next meeting, bring all the costs, or we can forward.
Fine.
And we can see what the costs are.
I didn't want to hash this all out. I just wanted to just understand that we were here for a second call and we wanted to provide the service. That was my reasoning for coming
Eleanor,
here.
you did want to
And-
hash it out because we have a meeting on Friday where you could have talked about this. You wanted to put it in a public.
I didn't want the
You can't
EMS.
be-
No, that's not
you
about
can't-
EMS.
You can't bring it
And
out
that's not,
be upset
that's not,
that we talk about it.
that's not what we were doing. That was our budget, and that has nothing to do with EMS. That's two separate things. That was a separate budget, totally separate. But I
But it
just,
speaks to sitting down and having a conversation with someone is what it speaks to. It speaks to you wanting to come up and throw out information.
But
and
you
then
know-
not
you know
want-
what?
Wait a minute. And then not want to hear because you put your side on things and then we give
Yeah,
you the town
I'm-
board's perspective.
Right.
But
I'm listening.
I agree with what Kevin said. We had these conversations. The issue with buying the ambulance, we hadn't made a decision. You're correct in that. But to come to a town and say we don't have the people to put out full-time. Right now, what Rich is saying is we're doing a service for the community that the net result is a savings across the board and guaranteed putting, I'm less concerned with the cost, more concerned when we heard about people waiting 50 and 60 minutes for ambulance. Not every day, but on occasion because volunteerism
Rarely.
is
for
down.
second call.
Rarely.
Second
If it
call.
was my mother and it was once, it would be too much.
And I think it was bad weather, there was a snowstorm, it was a bad weather. That was
But the
rare.
fact of the matter is, we're relying on volunteers to get out to these calls. We've got people now, I'm not going to refute whether you guys are trained better, they're trained better. You probably
not.
are all, the
That's
EMTs are
right.
fantastic.
Same way. Yeah.
So that's great. But we have the ability now, for a very reasonable cost, to make sure that our residents are going to get an ambulance in a timely manner. And even provide that service if we have to our neighbors, because we all do mutual aid. We want to take care of everyone. But we're doing it in a way. And for you to come in and say, we gave you a proposal, and then, yeah, we had to raise it because we had new members. So are you saying if we had said, we agree to your proposal, you would have come back 3 months later and said, strike that, we need more money because we didn't count on new members?
No, we would have put it in the next year's budget.
So then that's what you should have done. You should have-
Initially?
No, not that much time went by between you giving us a proposal, us countering and saying, we made some adjustments, and then you came back a few weeks later. We're talking about 6 weeks' time here. We're not talking about 6 months' time. So my point is, it would have gone a lot farther for you to say, we understand that you made
So
some
a few
cuts.
$1,000s is what made or
It's not-
break it?
It's more
broke it?
about the fact of saying, you
We
give us a
did.
budget
We
and it
took
wasn't a
out, we
proper
took
budget,
out
and
a
the
lot
budget
of things that
gave-
you asked for. We took out the furniture, we took out the year, the livelihood of the ambulance or replacement. We extended it from 7 to 10 years. We did work with you.
Okay.
We did. We took out a lot of things,
So,
you know, so.
I think the
I mean,
part
Matt
the
really
part
did
is
that, and I-
insulting to me, quite honestly, is that there's a lot of information that is being spread that basically that people feel like the town board is against the Patterson Fire Department, and that's just not the case. Just because you may not like one negotiation or one conversation.
What
doesn't
about,
mean-
I mean, people have said that to me also. I mean, it does look that way, especially that the ambulance is not centrally located. And I don't care if the ambulance is at the firehouse or where it,
Good.
as
End
long
of
as it's
discussion.
centrally
Good.
located.
You said it, end of discussion. I don't care where it's located either, as long as it gets out on the call.
No, centrally located, centrally. You talk about time, you did mention that about time, get a timely fashion.
What-
When it takes about 10 more minutes for
Yeah.
it to go from one place to another, that's not timely.
It's timely because it's getting out and there are people waiting for the call, then having to respond on a volunteer basis and drive from up out of Patterson area to go pick up. You just said
And,
you're
you know,
a
and
driver. Where do
people-
you live?
Where do I live? I live right on the border,
Where?
in Pauling and Patterson.
How long does it take you to drive to the fire
8 minutes.
You live right on the border of Pauling and Patterson?
8 minutes.
Okay, 8 minutes. So
Right.
that's 8 minutes right there, minimum, for you knowing the call, jumping in your car, not accounting for anything, being ready for that call, 8 minutes, before you even get to the fire
I'm
department.
sorry, Dover and Pauling. Did I say Patterson?
Yes, you did say
I'm sorry.
Patterson and
But
Pauling.
regardless, it's
Which-
still 8
sorry.
to 10
It's 8 minutes. It's 8 minutes.
And great if you can get there in 8 to 10 minutes, but that's still 8 to 10 minutes waiting if you're the driver, before anybody ever does anything.
But there are times that we stay at the firehouse. If we have a duty night, we sleep at the firehouse.
Good.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And that's all.
We have a couple of drives that live in Dover
This
that
town is
absolutely
not-
stay.
This town is not against volunteerism. We've actually taken volunteer people into the ambulance service. It promotes training, people that maybe have skills they want to learn.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
it's not that anybody's against volunteerism. I mean, that's the backbone of what built these fire departments and the response. But as you guys mentioned, the people aren't out there, that we don't have the number of volunteers. This was not an issue that this town board took on its own. It was an issue that you and Putt Lake came and said, we can't do it anymore. Something's got to change.
No, Putt Lake said that first. We didn't say.
Regardless, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You guys weren't
They
making
were
the
out,
calls.
but, right.
It wasn't a matter. It was a matter of great intentions.
Right.
Nobody's denying that. But the end result was that people were not getting the service that they need in their time of need, when they desperately need someone to be there. Our volunteers weren't getting out, and you both departments agreed we need something more.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be pissed off that you don't like the answer. The bottom line is
I just want the
you
best.
are.
I want the best for the citizens of the
You
town.
want what you
and
want.
also about keeping it at the firehouse. We did offer, and you refused because you said, "Oh, things we're not happy with each other," or whatever the
We said
wording
it
was.
wasn't the right time
we
right now,
we
maybe in
have
the future.
yeah. We've asked you again, and you've refused to keep it at the firehouse. We have an
I
engine
don't
bay
think the time is right.
when the time is right.
Matt said he doesn't know if the ambulance would fit. That's part of us looking at your capital improvement plan, correct?
Right. But then
There's
I
a lot
thought
of
someone said it
improvements
will
you wanna
fit.
make.
I thought Rich said it will fit because he went there and measured it. So
No, I never said I measured it.
Okay.
I never said it
That's-
will fit. I said, how do you know? Have you measured?
I mean, there's people on the street, they're saying, why don't you let the ambulance go in your firehouse? I go, and I think Mr. Majors was one of them, saying that, why isn't the ambulance at your firehouse, and why won't you let them in? I just don't want people to think that we won't let you in. It's that you don't want to come in.
Eleanor,
And we will look at that, and if it works, it works. We are here.
I think the one thing everybody in this room can agree on, and the general public can agree on, is that there is definitely friction between the fire department and the town board. And we need to get by that.
Absolutely.
And we need to work together, but
And I really
this is-
thought we were moving
this is-
forward.
this
And
is-
I
this is-
totally,
this is
until I
not-
got this letter
This is
saying
not-
that,
This is not working together. This
No.
is showing everybody there's still friction going on. As long as that friction is there, I'm telling you right now, this board is not comfortable
so you couldn't-
with putting
Go
the
ahead.
putting our ambulance in your firehouse. We're not.
right, so don't you think instead of saying, second call, we're not going to do second call because it's too high, is there I see you have more members, is there something else we can do? But you said at this
Listen.
time, we don't want you to do
As
it.
Sean said, the time to talk about that is when we meet. Now, if you want to come.
Yeah, but I don't want that to be with just Matt and I. That should be a board, our board, and more members of the
Right, bring
EMS.
them over.
That's
Bring
what it
them
should be,
over.
because this meeting on Friday is just between us.
Listen, you
It's a
can-
different, to me,
listen.
it's a different aspect of it.
Our board would love the opportunity to meet with your whole board
All right,
to talk
okay.
about the
Then
issues.
let's do that.
Bring them over. But,
You come over, either way.
well, we got more than enough room to accommodate you here.
Either way,
You
that's
know,
that's fine.
So, we're more than happy to meet and talk, and we're more than happy to meet and talk about, the overall service that you're providing and the cost. But we've got to sharpen our pencils here. We all know we have to sharpen our pencils. And we can't do that when, we're getting these budgets, which we frankly are finding somewhat unreasonable. Again, a paid mechanic, 23% increase, the people can't afford it.
It's not 23, and the
It's
payment.
16.
It is absolutely
But that's
23.
neither
Wait,
here nor there.
Monica,
That's
the 23
a
is
discussion.
on the paper that your department submitted.
You're throwing it out to, just like you're throwing it out to the public to make it look like it's an incredible increase, but you don't understand the whole.
And we haven't minused
Not the whole-
the
But do you have
opportunity.
Who has the authority to speak for the fire department here?
I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're saying one thing, you're saying another thing. Are you authorized by the board to talk for the fire department?
Say that again?
Are you authorized by your board to speak for the fire department?
Yes,
And I think she's president
Absolutely.
of the fire department.
Okay.
and Monica's on the board also.
Okay, it's just that it was clearly 23%. It was, you submitted last year's budget with minimal modification and a 23% increase. I don't find
I'll
that to
have
be,
to- I'll
I don't find
take
that to
that
be
out.
working with the town board.
Right.
I don't think that's fiscally responsible. And you're
That's-
saying you're disappointed? We're all disappointed.
Absolutely.
But that's a discussion. That's a discussion for Friday.
Well, maybe we should have that discussion in private first instead of coming up here and casting stones at one another.
Whether it's in public or in private, I mean, we need to have the conversation. So, we're gonna, I think we're gonna move on now if anybody
Yeah,
else has
absolutely.
anything. But if you could stick around for a little bit, we could talk about the meeting.
Sure.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
To that discussion?
No. Anything you'd like, George.
You going? Okay.
That's a tough act to follow, but
Hi,
I'll try to
George.
lighten things.
Little levity.
I'm
is
George
appreciated.
Dewdrop from Patterson, and I'm on a trustee on the excuse me, library board. Oftentimes, for the residents here, a nice crowd tonight, but oftentimes for the people who are watching on TV, they might not be aware. I just wanted to rattle off some programs that the library is doing this month, so that maybe they can catch it on the TV on cable. Tomorrow we're having a movie matinee at 1, Going in Style. We've got on the 18th, Colonial Families of Patterson, the Historical Society is coming in. They're having a 6:30 meeting. Their meeting, they're going to be launching their new website, and then at 7 o'clock, Colonial Families. How to Start a Business is also coming up on the 26th. We have a business associate, RIY Business Associates is coming in. Obviously, with Halloween coming up, big goings on at the library. Saturday from 4 to 5:30 on the 28th, there's a kids' Halloween party for ages 4 to 7. And then from 6:30 to 8:30, the older little monsters come in for a Halloween bash. And then for our young adults, we have once a month yoga for teens, and once a month on Saturdays, breakfast for teens. I bring this to your attention. It's all on the website. I just think it's important for the residents and the board to know that we're trying to reach all members, all ages, adults, little kids, bigger kids, through the programs. The Halloween programs last year were, I won't say sold out because there's no fee, but they were full. So if you want any information, please go to the website, and there's some registration for a couple of other things. But if you want to stop by for a matinee tomorrow, a nice movie, please do. Thank you.
George, one quick question over here.
Okay, Charlie. Yes.
How'd the book sale go?
The book sale went very well. I don't have any numbers for you, if that's okay.
No.
The book sale went very well. We think it was probably equivalent to last year. We had a lot of traffic through there. We did have some additional expenses this year with some renting some stuff. Cartwright was a wonderful partner with us again. So it was successful.
That's it.
Okay, we are looking for volunteers for our Friends of the Library program if anyone is listening.
Thanks, George.
Anyone else wish to be recognized? Motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go in executive session.
Second.
I think I said that.
You did.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.